Welcome, guys, to Gaming with the Goons. We work hard to play harder, and you are joined by me, Santos, and
me, Lee.
So, pick up from the last series of Resident Evil 5, today we are now going to do Resident Evil 6 in preparation of the re-release of Resident Evil 2, which is one of my favourite Resident Evils because it's more realistic, cut in the old times when the PS1 and the PC version, and it was one of the scariest one that I thought. Resident Evil 6, this is a really good game in my opinion. It's been rated really low to a lot of people, and we're going to try and show you a video of why we think that Resident Evil 6 is still a good game, and compared to Resident Evil 5 it can still work very well.
So let's get started.
In Resident Evil 5, when me and Grant played it, we were fighting against Maginis. That was the new types that was coming, that was the new type enemies. Like Resident Evil 4, it was the same with them. They were also Maginis as well, so they were taken over by a virus. But in this one, which we will be doing Leon's campaign, it's gonna have zombies back again, which when I first heard about it, I was really happy, saying that it's bringing bringing back to its old roots of zombies.
Exactly, and like the good old scary movie, typical movie zombies. And no fancy.
So, see, it's gonna have a cutscene here, so I'm just gonna let you guys have a quick look into it. Just as you saw there on Resident Evil 2, it's pretty much the same. There was an explosion part right at the beginning of the game. It's the same here. What we're doing right now, it does happen during the game, but this is just a quick tutorial on how to play. So I'm in the game for tutorial. It's always going to be one player. So Lee will join me during when we start actually playing the game properly.
Yeah, so as you can see, I'll just give a sort of a talk through of what Santos is doing as he plays through the tutorial. He's carrying your partner through.
So Leon, one of my favourite characters. Probably my favourite character. It's not one of my favourite, it's my favourite character. But there's a new partner and new character to Resident Evil 6, which will get explained later on, so we're not going to spoil it for you, and we're going to let the game introduce that character for you.
It's not over yet.
So Santos is just trying to carry his partner, who looks severely injured.
More like death.
Well, yeah, that's true. And he's doing a terrible job, clearly.
I want to slow you down. Just go.
Wise words.
You're not getting off that easy. Come on.
So leave a comment below. In a zombie apocalypse, would you actually do that when someone tells you to go? Would you leave them, or would you just keep going ahead? Because I will tell you right now, I would leave them. That's the character. I just leave people behind. I go ahead.
That's the friend he is. For instance, I'd probably go back and save now not Santos, but everyone else for sure. So as you can see, the circle you had earlier was almost like the revive function. When you pick up objects to try and pry doors open, you have a quick time events where you have to press square in the little bar to progress.
So compared to the old one where you only press it once, so it'll even tell you to press square and X at the same time, or L1 and R1. In this one, as Lee said, it's quick time events, so
yeah, you've got to be a little bit more accurate with your quick time events. Obviously, the harder mode you're playing, the more difficult this is.
Let's try this way.
this is a little bit of a bloodbath, I've got to say.
Yeah, it's a little bit creepy.
So once again, it's already bringing back itself to the original roots of being creepy.
Yeah, more of a survival horror sort of feel, the gameplay, especially for this or Leon's story.
And why we chose to do Leon is because Leon was the original character of Resident Evil 2. So it's best that we use him as an example of what we're doing, as we're going to play the re-release, which should be done by Grant.
Yep, he's an avid Resident Evil fan. So he would love to do Resident Evil 2. So Santos is looking for some classic herbs to heal, like that.
Leon, are you there?
There's a few new different functions in
Okay.
Resident Evil 6 compared to Resident Evil 5. As you know, Resident Evil 5 kept on using if you shoot them on the head, you got a chance to use press R2 to hit them straight away on the face or something like that. They done the same with this one, where if you shoot them on the head or the legs or something, you can still hit them straight away in the face, or you can either fly kick into them, or whatever speciality that character has. A little bit different compared to 5 and 6 on the herb bits is, as you can see, you mix herb together and you actually put it in a tablet case, which in the old one you mix herbs together and you just spray it on someone. That's how you recover someone. So
yeah, and as you can see, the tablets in the bottom right corner on the heads-up display, you can see there's now 3 tablets, or 3 like hills almost.
I've lost Helena, I don't know where she is. Oh, there she is.
Santos was trying to leave her behind.
Too many good agents have died here today. You're not getting out of that list.
So the first encounter of the game.
Oh, look at that, straight headshot straight away. So again, a series of quick time events, not always just pressing one button, sometimes moving a joystick before the timer runs out. And not always the same button either.
It's a classic zombie scene there.
Classic kill as well. Nothing like a knife for a zombie's head.
So in this one, when your partner's down, go up to them, press R1.
How do you feel?
I think I'm gonna be okay. Thank you.
Leon, what are you doing? You need to get out of there, now.
We're heading to the quad tower.
What? No, it's too dangerous.
There are BSAA agents there with survivors. I can't abandon them.
All right. Then let me help. I'll direct you through the safest route.
Thanks, Anakin.
Just interesting facts that
Send the field guide to your PDA. You can always refer to that in a pinch.
is voiced by one of my favourite voice actors, Matt Mercer, and his partner's voiced by another one, Laura Bailey.
What the hell?
As you can see, they're pretty good voice actors. It does sort of add to the game.
In case you guys didn't know, this is based off in China.
Hunnigan, can we make it to the tower
Did you know?
this way?
All zombie apocalypse ends up in
Just
China.
keep moving in that direction.
That's where they start. So as you can see, it's basically trying to escape through the zombies. Once you hit them in the back or leg, you can often use like R1 or R2 to either kick them and stomp them. You can also free punch as well by just hitting R2 or kicking like that. It does drain your stamina, and if you're injured, you can't kick as hard. You can also shoot as well, or do a quick shot by pressing, I believe it's L2 and R2 at the same time.
Something else that you can do in this game now is that you can run, and then you can just slide at them.
Which is a good way of knocking a bunch of zombies down to then stomp on their heads and save a bit of ammo.
Another thing that you can also do is when a zombie's about to grab you, press forward and X while aiming, and you can roll away from your opponent. So, well, she didn't need my help, but... So I'm just going to keep going on. I love how he says run when he's looking at, while still looking at it.
Outrun that explosion, so just, yeah, L and X is dash, pretty standard.
God.
And there was a...
I ran the wrong way.
failed on the tutorial. At least you can continue and it'll only start back from the checkpoint, which isn't too far.
Yeah, which is just this bit again. So when you're running, don't press up and X because it runs backwards into the explosion like I did.
Yeah, you want to run away from the explosion rather than into it. Nice scene of action here. Explosion. Reminds me of like Final Destination.
I don't think this is the Final Destination, but...
Unfortunately not, but I expected one car to hit you at least.
I expected as well, but this is Resident Evil, so you always survive. I feel sorry for that zombie.
The one that's oh, another quick time event. And as you can see, that bar does go quite fast. It is a tutorial. Depending on the mode you set it on, that can be extremely
I
difficult.
also felt sorry for the guy who jumped down and saved us because he's now dead.
He's a soldier.
This thing isn't gonna hold up much longer.
Just a few more bugs.
She shouldn't have saved him.
all right?
Yeah.
I thought I was being either Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger. No matter what happens, we will survive a helicopter hit.
It does certainly feel that way.
So this bit ends the tutorial.
It'll be all right.
It's a very good way of introducing the game controls and the gameplay.
So you can play this game single player, co-op, or it can end up being multiplayer as well. Multiplayer, it'll be a multiplayer co-op, which is something that when they implemented it in this game, I thought it was very clever. How two of you progress on as Leon and Helena, and then there'll be another two character, and you end up meeting at one point, and then you all fight at the same time, which I thought was very clever of them to put in.
It's a very good idea, and you can basically end up having, if you're playing online, effectively 4 people playing at the same time in set areas, almost like boss fights, which we'll be able to point out as we reach that point.
So as you can see, there are 4 different campaigns. First one is Leon, which is the one that we shall be doing with you guys. It helps you have a good in-depth into the game, and it shows it's the easiest one, in my opinion, out of all the other ones.
Yeah, it is a very good starting point to get into the game, learn the controls.
And it brings out this nostalgic out of it.
Yeah.
It's a zombie one. Then they have Chris, which, as you can see from the background, they're mutating Maginis, as they call them in this game. It's the same with Jake. They have the same one, but Jake is a new character, which we're not going to spoil it with you, because don't want to introduce what Jake's full name is. But if you've already played this game, you will know. If you haven't, then you have to wait until the end. And then there's also the Special Agent Ada. As I said, it'll be me and Lee playing this, but there will be a chance that Wong might end up playing Ada on his own, because Ada is his favourite character, as you can tell because of her name, Ada Wong. Hence why he likes playing her. So,
right. So we'll leave the tutorial here. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share the video, and subscribe. If you check our YouTube About page, you can see our links to our Twitter account, where you can find more information on future games and more. So this is goodbye from Lee.
and Santos as well. And if there's any suggestions you like, make sure to comment below, okay? Thank you very much, and see you next time.